Did you know that a decade ago almost no one in Australia had the job title Export Control Officer? Today, they're among the most sought-after specialists. I'm Jess Rankin, CEO of Export Controls Australia Group, and I'm excited to have you to join me on a reflective conversational journey in this 30-minute feature podcast. Think about how much our world has changed in just a few years. Geopolitical shifts and technological leaps have made export controls, the rules about what sensitive technologies can be shared or sold abroad, a frontline issue of national security. This is no longer a dry regulatory box ticking exercise. It's about protecting critical tech and staying ahead in a fast-moving global arena. Just look at recent events. A tragic war in Ukraine exposed how easily everyday technology can end up in weapons. Investigators found Western-made microchips in foreign missiles and drones. And then closer to home, Australia's allies are paying unprecedented attention to how we safeguard technology. In its 2025 threat assessment, ASIO warned that foreign espionage is at, quote, unprecedented levels, with adversaries actively targeting programs like AUKUS to steal sensitive know-how. In other words, the stakes have never been higher. Meanwhile, technology itself is transforming at breakneck speed. Artificial intelligence is a perfect example of that. Earlier this year, I wrote about China's new AI model, DeepSeek. It's being called a potential Sputnik moment for the West. Why? Because in some areas like advanced math and coding, this homegrown AI might have surpassed the capabilities of models like ChatGPT. That's a wake-up call. If AI breakthroughs can happen anywhere, our export control rules need to keep up and fast. How do we control intangible exports from algorithms or data flows? How do we collaborate on AI with allies without exposing ourselves to risk? Policymakers are scrambling for answers, and the pace of change is almost impossible to keep up with. Here in Australia, 2024 and 2025 brought seismic changes. Our government updated the laws, like the Defence Trade Controls Amendment Bill, adding new controls on sharing tech with foreign partners. At the same time, new frameworks with allies kicked in, notably the AUKUS partnership. By late 2024, AUKUS exemptions became effective, creating a licence-free trade zone for most defence items with the US and UK. Sounds great, right? It is. It opens doors for collaboration, but it also means companies must be extra diligent. Easing rules in some areas increase the need for skilled compliance experts to make sure nothing slips through the cracks. As one US official put it, America's ITAR licence exemptions for the Australia depend on us maintaining robust controls in return. So there's pressure on Australian industry to raise the bar and prove we can be trusted with advanced tech. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're an engineer at a small Aussie tech company. You've developed cutting-edge drone component. A UK partner is eager to collaborate. Huge opportunity. Under AUKUS, maybe you won't need an export license to share with them. Fantastic. Less red tape. But hold on. Do you really fully understand the fine print of those exemptions? Are you certain your tech isn't one of the sensitive items excluded from the free pass list? If you guess wrong, you could accidentally break the law or jeopardise a contract. That's a lot of pressure on a small team. This is where export control professionals come in. We exist to guide that process, to ensure innovation isn't accidentally stifled by compliance or exposed to risk or mistake. The issue is a lot of SMEs don't have the wherewithal or funding to support a trade controls practitioner or expert. Some funding or contracts require it, and the consulting fees to ensure that you comply or to get advice can be prohibitive. So understanding the basics is imperative, and sharing information on how to do that without having to pay exorbitant consulting fees is something that ECAG wish to support. I often say that export controls today are about balancing speed and security. We want our brilliant SMEs, researchers, and businesses to collaborate globally and seize opportunities, whether it's the AUKUS submarine program, Pillar 1, Pillar 2, or joint AI research. But we have to do it responsibly. This means staying ahead of those rapid changes, from new foreign policy dynamics to emerging tech, making sure our listeners and you, our members, have the latest intel. In summary, the world of trade controls has gone from a niche back office task to centre stage. It's reactive and proactive, defensive and enabling. It changes month to month, sometimes faster, and frankly, it can be hard for even seasoned professionals like myself to keep up. That's why sharing stories and updates via podcasts and other means is truly valuable. Keeps us all in the loop, sharing this information. Specifically, how do we develop the next generation of export control and trade compliance professionals? If the past few minutes have convinced you this field is important, then you'll see why it's critical that we have skilled humans at the helm of it. But there's a challenge. There aren't enough of us. For years, export controls was an obscure niche. There's no university degree called Export Controls 101 in Australia. There's no straightforward path into it. Most of us, myself included, quote unquote, fell into this career from other disciplines. Maybe you were a lawyer, an engineer, or in logistics, and one day your boss said, hey, can you also handle these permit things? You learned on the job, maybe found a mentor or two, and pieced it together. That worked when the field was small, but now with the demand for compliance experts exploding, that ad hoc approach isn't enough. One big issue is awareness. Let's be honest, how many young professionals or students even know that export control officer is a job? Not many. It's a behind-the-scenes role, not as flashy as cybersecurity or AI engineering. So new talent doesn't naturally flock to this field. I often attend defence industry events where people talk about the needing of more engineers. For AUKUS, rarely does anyone say we need more compliance officers. But we absolutely do. Every new tech initiative needs a compliance brain alongside it, or else it might never get off the ground. So part of our mission is basically evangelism, raising the profile of export control careers so that bright minds see it as an exciting opportunity, which it absolutely is. Another challenge when we do attract fresh talent, companies sometimes hesitate to hire them. Why? Because training a newcomer is a heavy lift, and the rules change so fast that even seasoned folks must constantly update their knowledge. Some employers fear a steep learning curve for someone with no experience, worrying they can't afford mistakes in this high-stakes arena. And I get it. I've been through it. It's so much easier to poach a trained expert from another company than grow one from scratch. But that just shifts talent around. It doesn't increase the overall supply. As a community, we need to support that and break that cycle. So how do we do it? By building pathways and lowering barriers. Let me share a couple of views from myself. Obviously, education and training. We saw a lot of increase in education this year from various providers, which has been fantastic. Trying to create an ecosystem to share knowledge. ECAG has been a supporter of that, to create one more like the US or the UK, where professional associations and certificates help talent the pipeline. It's early days, but we're hoping to get there. Global mentoring, I think, is really important. We often act in silos, between UK, Australia, and the US, and we need to grow the international cohort of global mentoring so that we can share our issues for both sides and understand the requirements and complexities that we need within Australia to apply them. We also have had roundtables, many with Defence, DEC have done a fantastic job, international policy have done a fantastic job in hosting a lot of roundtables. I'd also like to mention ECAG's very own initiatives, which we're especially proud about, the Global Export Controls Program. This was and will be launched in 2026, which is a fully funded national program to cultivate future leaders in strategic trade policy. Thanks to the Department of Defence Strategic Policy Grants Program, we can take a cohort of early to mid-career professionals, people with around 2 to 7 years experience, and put them through an intensive year-long development journey. 4 two-day workshops across 2026 in Adelaide and Sydney with networking dinners, expert roundtables with international guests, high-level engagement with senior figures. We cover everything, so these rising stars can focus on learning. The idea is to basically fast-track these experts to build a cross-sector network of savvy export control leaders. Applications for the 2026 program closed already, and the responses blew me away, to be honest. There was a fair amount of talent out there, so many that raised their hand, which is fantastic. It will be announced in late 2025 to begin in 2026. If you weren't successful in 2025, please apply again. There were so many impressive applications from all different areas, from academia to professional services, defence primes, SMEs, government, all different areas, from SPOs to international export controls to other areas, which has been absolutely fantastic. If you're listening and applied, thank you. If you missed out, don't worry. It is going to run, like I said, for a second cohort year in 2027. This is just the beginning. All these efforts serve one goal, which is ensuring the next generation has a clear pathway to gain experience. We want them to have the knowledge we veterans had to scramble for, and even more. It's about turning a formerly obscure niche area into a well-supported profession. Because frankly, Australia's ability to uphold its national security commitments and seize opportunities like AUKUS really depends on having enough skilled compliance people. We can't keep leaning on the same overstretched experts forever. We need fresh recruits, fresh minds, fresh approaches, armed with training, mentorship, and enthusiasm. And to the early careers people out there, if this field intrigues you, please get involved, connect with ECAG, attend events, reach out to a mentor. Better time for people to join this fantastic and growing community and area of expertise. I wanted to quickly reflect in this episode about ECAG's journey over the past 2 years. I'd like to shout out to my co-founder, Amy McDonald, who is the COO and has been with me from day one. We have worked tirelessly to develop this organisation to support this area. We really saw it as an opportunity after noticing similar organisations such as EGAD, AIA, EGAD in UK, AIA, SAA in the US. And we really just started this not-for-profit, unpaid volunteer organisation because we just wanted this to exist in Australia. We wanted somewhere where people could connect and share information. It's not for lobbying. It is to share information potentially to the government for similar concerns. But we really just wanted to have an organisation where people could join and discuss what they're facing at the moment, how they're navigating different areas, and really in the early days of us setting this up, trying to figure out how to build a website from scratch with no funding. We really just wanted to make sure, number one priority, that it was credible, reliable, and consistent. We want this organisation to exist well after our tenure. I'm sure we'll move on at some stage and be replaced, but over time, we need this to exist for the bigger part of the purpose. In the early days, we set out the core activities, representation, policy, and mainly delivering timely information to people. Lofty words for us, but we have rolled up our sleeves to make each one real. Another highlight, influencing policy and being a voice to government. We've been at the table, or at least in the room, as Australia shaped new export control regulations in response to AUKUS. We provided input on the Defence Trade Controls Amendment Bill 2024, and as new rules rolled out, like those licence exemptions with the US and UK, we relayed industry's feedback to regulators. Our goal is to ensure that laws meet their security aims without being unduly prohibitive for Aussie innovation. It's a tough balance, but I believe our perspective, representing practitioners on the ground, has been valuable to policymakers. In fact, Amy McDonald, co-founder and COO, was invited to present in London at the 2025 International Conference on Export Controls to share Australia's approach and how our public-private collaboration is evolving. It's a proud moment to put Australia on the map in the global compliance community. We also focused on information sharing and education. Over 2024-25, we hosted dozens of webinars, published a monthly Navigator Journal, and even launched an online forum. If a new US rule or UN sanction came out on a Friday, our members and our committees had translated this into plain English brief to be able to publish with LinkedIn and other forums or platforms within the ECAG community. We've covered topics from ITAR FAQs for beginners to deep dives like AI export controls, as you heard earlier, all with the aim of demystifying these complex subjects. The feedback from our community has been great. One member told me an ECAG webinar on compliance really supported her with some research and potential costly mistakes, which absolutely made my day. And of course, the crowning achievement this year was securing the Strategic Policy Grant for the GECP program. Being able to fund and train the next gen leaders is exactly the kind of impact I dreamed ECAG would have. It's literally an investment in the future of our profession and Australia's capability. The fact that Department of Defence trusted us with this responsibility says a lot about how far ECAG has come in a short time. We went from an idea to a respected, credible organisation that can mobilise national programs in under 2 years. This still boggles my mind in a good way. I don't think I've fully accepted it, but I am very proud of what we've been able to build. Was it smooth sailing is a question I think that people have asked, and I would respond immediately with, of course not. Building something new never is. We've had moments of doubt. There were challenges convincing some people that export controls deserve attention and funding. Early on, a few folks said, do we really need a separate group for this? I think there's now a lot more buy-in, especially as companies face the realities of compliance and see the value of having a support system. So we have a high majority of support from those early days to now. We had the early adopters, and now we have people coming along the way, which of course needed to happen for us to create a credible organisation for them to have buy-in, which of course is what we need to do. Seeing the engagement demand from webinars and the engagement for our board and our first event has really struck a chord with me, Together we're making a difference, and we're actually making some momentum in getting the knowledge of this very important area, both for careers or information or navigation, and that we're really making a difference as a community. I guess perhaps the most gratifying part for me personally has been exactly that, the community that it's formed. I've watched a true network of peers emerge from practitioners, from universities, startups, defence primes, government agencies, all swapping stories and tips, encouraging each other in a field that can definitely feel daunting. But I think we have, and we are build Australians industry to be able to receive government tech, which is a fantastic initiative we're hoping to see more about. My promise is that we'll keep providing a steady hand at ECAG, timely knowledge, and a platform for voices to be heard and to share and understand information. For those that applied to the GECP, they will embark on a new journey in 2026. And congratulations, they will be announced late December. I can't wait to see the growth and impact you'll have. For those who didn't make it, keep honing your skills through other avenues, our webinars, connection, other opportunities. There will be a second cohort, separate cohort in 2027. So if you didn't make it, then I'd encourage you to apply again in 2027. We're essentially building a bench of talent for Australia, and everyone has a role to play, whether as a mentor, a learner, or a supportive manager, encouraging their team members to pursue training, opportunities, and share knowledge, even if it's within their own team. I also have a request for our listeners from industry. Consider getting involved with ECAD if you aren't already. If you would like to, then you can follow our updates, join our website, or follow our podcast, and also our LinkedIn page. We're active often, and we have a few podcasts up already, which will continue. Better yet, join us as a corporate membership. We're actively seeking corporate partners who believe in our mission. Being a corporate partner isn't a donation, it's a partnership in the true sense. It means working together on shaping training programs, co-hosting events, and ensuring your organisation and others get the support they need to excel in compliance. In return, you're helping sustain an effort that benefits the whole ecosystem within Australia. Ultimately, a win-win. All right, sales pitch over, but sincerely, every bit of support counts. This is a community effort, and you are the community. On a more personal note, I want to thank you, our listeners and members, for being a part of this journey. The enthusiasm, whether it's great questions, feedback, article contributions, or just the fact that you tuned in today, is what really fuels me and ECAG. We've tackled serious topics in this chat, but underlying it all is a passion for making a positive difference. If you've listened this far, I suspect you share that passion too. It's also the holiday season, a time to reflect and appreciate how far we've come. And wow, what a ride these past 2 years have been. From standing up a national-wide program and an international presence, ECAG has grown beyond my wild expectations. I am filled with gratitude for our small but mighty team of volunteers, for our partners in government and industry, our amazing committees who work tirelessly to deliver and support sharing information. Together, we're strengthening Australia's sovereign capability and contributing to a safer and more connected world. So not a bad outcome for year 2, I'd say. So as we head into the new year, I raise an imaginary glass to you all. Here's to continuous learning, collaboration, and success in all your endeavours. May you find inspiration in the challenges and joy and progress of export controls. Thank you for listening, and happy holidays and Christmas to you and your families. Be safe, enjoy, and I look forward to our next conversation in 2026. Until then, stay safe, stay compliant, I had to say that, and stay inspired.